Hello and welcome back. I often wonder to myself, why does suede get such a bad rap when it comes to wet weather? Why does it have a reputation of being flimsy or fragile? Because simply, it's not. When I'm looking for a shoe that can do it all, rain or shine, which in Melbourne could happen on the same day or even at the same time, I always reach for my suede Crockett and Jones Westfields. Hello, I'm Sam from Jessup Says. The purpose of my channel is to educate and inform people on how to make better purchasing decisions, working towards the motto of buy less, buy better. This means considering cut, manufacturing, and understanding what it means to have timeless style. It's not necessarily about having a capsule wardrobe. It's about having a wardrobe that suits a range of different activities that you may be interested in doing, and that each garment or each item in that wardrobe is fit for the purpose that you want or that you intend to use it for. My hope is that the more people who understand and embrace this idea of buy less, buy better, the more sustainable our future will be. When I was looking for a shoe that I could wear anywhere at any time, Crockett and Jones immediately sprung to mind as a brand that I have a strong affinity to, and that they've proven their value to me over time with their super high quality shoes and boots. And so it's really the first place that I started to look. From my exposure to their shoes, I knew that whatever I chose would be high quality and built to be worn. So I was looking for a shoe that was like a derby, but not a derby. I wanted plenty of broguing, maybe an unusual or interesting color, and I really wanted to make sure that whatever I purchased I could wear it as easily with a pair of jeans or a pair of flannel trousers or suit trousers. A quick note on derbies. I'm not really a fan of derbies. They just don't match my style. And honestly, I can't see myself wearing them. I've tried to talk myself into getting a pair of Alden long wings or something like the Crockett and Jones Pembroke, but I just can't quite figure out how I would incorporate the shoes into my wardrobe and what I would wear them with. Ultimately, this has meant that I don't really own any derbies. I'm more of an Oxford or a loafer guy. Back to my search. After searching the breadth and depth of the internet, I decided that the Westfield by Crockett and Jones was my best bet. It struck all the right notes. Simple, sleek design, sort of medium round toe, with lots of broguing and interesting details that make them a little bit more interesting to look at. The semi-brogue detailing adds a bit of pop that I'm a fan of. Now, to the meat of the decision, the leather, or rather, suede. Suede is actually currently my choice for low maintenance and extremely easy to wear shoes and boots. And I know that I'm not alone among those in the footwear community. There's something about being able to wear your shoes through a rainstorm, take them off when you get home, and noticing that your feet are still entirely dry, and then not having to think about the maintenance or care of that leather. Suede goes a step further. Let me show you what I mean by showing you my maintenance routine for suede. Now let's say I've been stomping around in the wet, which I sometimes do. First of all, get your shoe. This one here, the one we're discussing today, Crockett and Jones Westfield, and you get a shoe tree, like this lovely one here by Crockett and Jones. And what you do is you insert that shoe tree into the shoe, like so. And then you gently place it on the rack and leave it to dry. Job done. There are two optional steps for those days where you really have stomped around in not only the wet but also the mud and the shoes are looking pretty caked up. Now, it is important to remove this dirt from the shoe, because you don't actually want that to be sitting on top of the suede. It'll deteriorate the suede over time. Best thing you can do is grab a little brush, like this one I have here, pretty cheap one from, I believe, a New Zealand supermarket, and you just brush the suede pretty simply. And as you can see, the nap of the suede, or how fluffy the suede is, comes back to life pretty much instantly as you do this. Now, that's just to really get all the dust and the dirt and the grime out of the leather, and it's a really great step that, again, is optional, but if you have really got very caked on dirty shoes or dirty suede, I would recommend you doing that. This brush is quite a firm bristle, as opposed to a brush like this one I have here from Sophia, which is a much softer bristle, which is more for, your smooth leathers and buffing and polishing a shoe. The second optional step is using something like Sophia Renovateur suede spray, that looks a bit like this. Now, I personally only use that once every 3 to 6 months. It's not a regular thing for me, but it does help to condition and rejuvenate the leather, the suede, which will help for the longevity of the shoe. So I would recommend doing that, at least once a year, maybe twice a year. There is a super secret special technique that I will insert here, and that's something like a protectant spray or a waterproofing spray, which can be added to the suede to add even more durability and, I guess, hydrophobic properties to the suede. But it's not something that I do regularly, and it's not something that I'd recommend you do unless you're really out in storms and really heavy rain fairly regularly. Comparatively, smooth leather or cordovan leather take various degrees of care, but you can end up sinking 30 minutes to an hour into a pair of shoes pretty easily if you want them to look perfect after they've been soaked in rain. The Westfields are made from what Crockett and Jones call calf suede. This leather is made from European cows, or European calf skin. By all accounts, it's a very high quality suede that's going to last a long time. Now for the color. You may have noticed that I didn't go with a standard brown or black, or my fondness for burgundies. I actually went for a color called tobacco, or tobacco suede. Tobacco is a color I'm seeing more and more in menswear, from trousers to tops and overshirts and also obviously shoes. It might not seem an obvious color for shoes, but in my experience it's very easy to wear. So let's see how you might wear them. Are you feeling casual today? You want to wear a pair of jeans? These have got you covered. Have to pop into the office and wear a pair of chinos? Easy. Finally, for that person out there who has a big meeting and needs to wear, a full suit and a nice pair of suit trousers or flannels, these have got you covered there too. Notice how the shoes work really well with blues and creams and grey, which helps to prove their versatility, as I'd argue that most of us probably don't own trousers that are not blue, beige or grey, so these are very easy to wear. Tobacco as a colour is sort of what I would describe as interestingly plain, and it's definitely a colour that I'd recommend for anyone looking for a very versatile shoe. I've talked a lot about how good suede is for wet weather, but how about the soles of the shoes? It's sort of widely agreed that leather isn't the best sole material for a very rainy day, and I tend to agree with this. Though I will say that this can be managed If your shoes have a leather sole, what I personally do, I like to wear them for the first 10, 15, maybe 20 wears in a dry environment and compact and compress that leather sole down. And what I find that does is when the leather sole comes in contact with, water, the leather fibers are already very compressed and very close knit together, which means that they don't actually, the fibers don't get loose and the soles don't get destroyed in the weather. My Edward Green Galway's here, aka the best boot in the world, is a great example of this. As you can see, I have worn this in the weather, but because it's a really good quality and high quality leather sole, and because I was patient and wore them only inside or on the concrete for the first 10, 15, maybe 20 wears, you can see that the sole hasn't deteriorated and will definitely last another, many, many years. Saying that, the Crockett and Jones Westfield do actually ship with a leather sole. They are very good quality soles, and with a proper wear-in process, they are going to be fine for wet or dry days. However, in my case, I actually purchased these shoes off eBay secondhand, and for some reason, the leather sole was extraordinarily slippery when walking on any surface, wet or dry. And I actually ended up nicknaming these shoes the death shoes because I felt like I was taking my life in my own hands every single time that I put them on. To solve this problem, I shipped them off to a local cobbler in New South Wales called Kieran the Cobbler on Instagram, and he did a fantastic job of placing one of these, a toppy or a topi, this one here by Vibram, over top of both the heel and the main part of the sole, which has solved the problem entirely, and they are no longer named the death shoes. So, the Jessup Says portion, the best portion of the video. The Crockett and Jones Westfield is a fantastic, fantastic shoe. It's really beautifully designed, extremely high quality in terms of its manufacturing and how it's crafted, and the materials are built to last and built to be worn for a long, long time. They're very easy to pair with pretty much any outfit. I personally don't mind putting mine on at the start of the day, stomping through puddles, making a real mess, and then chucking on a nice pair of trousers in the evening and going straight out to dinner. Nothing says versatility like a shoe that does it all. Anyway, another video. Thanks very much for watching. Catch you in the next one.